What if they are not a narcissist? What if they are not a psychopath? What if they are not a Bellatrix Lestrange witch from Azkaban? What if they are not evil? What if they are not a Dementor from Azkaban out there to only suck the soul out of your life? Would that change how you deserve to be treated? Would that make any difference in what you allow in your life? Would that change your list of non-negotiables? Would that change the list of what you're okay with and not okay with and accepting from others around you? Chances are not really. You see, human beings are messy. All of us, you, me, we have our own phases, we have our own nuances, we have our own traumatic experiences to heal from, we have our own unhealthy patterns to correct, to change for the better. Personal development, personality development is a lifelong journey, and we can never be perfect enough for anyone at all, not even for our own selves. The same goes for every other person as well. Maybe they are one of the bestest, sweetest persons you will ever meet, and you know that in your heart, but somehow you happen to have met only an unhealed version of theirs. Maybe they are just a difficult person to deal with for whatever reason, or maybe they are someone who has certain nuances that you don't have the mind space, emotional bandwidth to deal with right now in your phase of life. Or maybe right now you cannot be who they need to feel seen and heard and accepted enough to thrive in life. And that's okay too. You see, just because some relationship doesn't work out, or just because we happen to have some kind of a negative experience with someone, that doesn't mean that we immediately have to shift the blame, or we immediately have to jump to conclusions about maybe they are narcissistic, maybe they are toxic, maybe they are psychopathic, maybe they are any other label that you want to put, that pop psychology content on social media encourages you to put on them. Psychological diagnosis doesn't work that way. Human behavior occurs on a spectrum, and all of us, every single human being, we are all 1,000 different shades of grey even on our best of days. And equally true is the fact that you have the permission to set healthy boundaries, you have the permission to stick to the non-negotiables in your life, you have the permission to make value-based decisions and decide, consciously choose what you want to allow and not allow in your life. You have the permission to prioritize your self-respect without villainizing the other person. Let them be the good person who didn't know how to make you feel valued. Let them be the good person who didn't know how to accept every bit of you. Let them be the good person who still couldn't see your worth. Let them be the good person who didn't know how to actively, compassionately listen to you. Let them be the good person who didn't have the emotional capacity to meet you at the depth, at the intensity of relationships that you have to offer. Let them be the good person who was tired of feeling alone with you. Let them be the good person who was still healing, still learning, still growing, and for whatever reason, neither you nor them had the emotional bandwidth, had the space and resources to make each other feel seen and heard even through their healing journey, the imperfect self, and make space for both of you to grow together within the relationship. You have every right to expect and accept reciprocity and equality in relationships in every aspect and define what that means for you. And at the same time, not everyone who is able to meet you there are necessarily toxic, evil people. Human beings are messy. Human beings are imperfect. And that is a beauty and challenge of humanity. This perspective could also stop us from feeling less about ourselves and going down the spiral of guilt-tripping ourselves when a relationship doesn't work out. Because as human beings, most of us, we have this innate tendency to seek control, which is why we have this tendency to become a fixer, and part of that is finding out exactly what happened, what went wrong, what we could have done to fix it, to make things better. And our default is to be able to know how exactly to fix things, because somewhere we have been sold on this idea that our worth depends on how good we are at making things, almost forcing things to fit the imagination that we have and that we think is the only perfect possibility. But life teaches us very different stories, doesn't it? There's got to be a balance between accepting and expecting behavioral accountability and trying to force a relationship into this fixed mold that you have in your imagination and that you think is the only perfectly happy, thriving, fulfilling relationship that you need. Leave some room for the unimaginable. Leave some space for you to meet people right where they are in life and for them to meet you in your most authentic, best self. Accept people for wanting to walk a very different path than yours, for having nothing to do with you, even when you think that you have their best interest in mind and you know exactly what they need and what's best for them. Let them choose their best. You see, when we truly care for someone, our priority is their happiness. Whether that happiness is with us, without us, we don't have a say in that, and we don't need a say either. When we are there for someone, we cannot exactly be there for them with this condition that they will turn out to be who we want them to be for us. I don't think kindness works that way. To really be there for a person means allowing them the freedom to choose who they want to grow into, even if that next story does not involve us. It's not even necessary that the way you envision your lives together, the way you envision the transformation of a relationship would be an exact match of what they have in mind, what they expect, what they imagine and envision. Everyone has the right to choose what's best for themselves. You have that right and they have that right too. Honestly, consent is never just limited to sex. Consent is about every single boundary that the other person wants to set and that you have to set within the relationship. And sometimes respect for consent looks like accepting someone's decision to not choose you. As harsh as it sounds and as heartbreaking as it feels in the moment, it helps to let them choose their best so that you can choose yours. Let them be so that you can simply be for yourself.